Hello, welcome to Top of the World. My name's Simon and we're in my wood shop. But over the winter, I machined up this profile. And that's my blank profile for doors, cupboard doors, cabinet doors. Styles, heads, rails, all the same, just the profile. And they've been up on top of there, sticked and stacked flat. So I've got a whole lot down and I've sorted. Really good, not so good, really bad. How do I know? Okay, what you do, it's got 3 crosses on the bottom of that, so that's obviously gone through. Firstly, you look down this way. Right, and then you look down that way. And it's straight, in both directions, it's straight. Well, other than the machine wobble there. But the bit of wood itself is straight. These are going to make good styles. And then the knots are good. The ones that will be ideal for heads and rails, for cutting down, tops and bottoms. And then you look down it. Right. And it's curved. It's got a slight bow in it. No use to using its length, but we can cut it down. Now the not so good ones. And then we get down to here. And we've got ones with holes in. Ones with bits missing. And then if we look down this one, we'll see it's bowed that way. And it's bowed that way. Bowed in both directions. Twisted. Not going to be a lot of good for what we want, unless we're going to cut them really short. And we have got some small doors to make. So this is right at the very start of the procedure of making cupboard and cabinet doors. There's my 3 lots of wood. So I'm going to get all the good styles, which is the uprights, left and rights of a door. Style, when you look at a door. Right, these are styles. Head, rail. That's how I know it. That's how it's going to be. Is I was messing around with joints and what I wanted to do. What I'd really like to do, I put a mortise in there because I've got a small mortising machine over here, and it is a small mortising machine. The funny thing about this is it says heavy duty on it. Think about it, heavy duty mortiser. No, it ain't. No, came out of a Christmas cracker. Right, pretty much like everything I got here comes out of fucking Christmas crackers. They wouldn't know what heavy duty was if it hit them around the back of the head. Anyway, I have got a small bit that I put in there. And I've done a mortise, and then I was messing around with this cutter block over here. Right, nice, that's the one that's in front of the window with a polycarbonate thing on it. To see if I can do a hidden mortise and tenon joint. Well, I can. For those that you know, I'm wasting your time. For those that don't, well... So I don't want the joint seen on the end. And I don't want it seen on the back. And I haven't used a step mortise, it's a straight mortise. And then I've made up a stepped and shaped tenon. Now this is a rough one, I've done it on the bandsaw. Right, and the idea behind this is it creates a really tight joint. And you can't see how it's done. Right, see, I've got pen marks on that. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong way. You can see it more obvious at the moment because I've got pen joints on it. That you'll see there's nothing on the back side. Turn that over. And there's nothing on the front side. So this is my first just messing around test piece. It's going to fit lovely, and that'll allow me to glue it and cramp it, and I don't need screws or anything else. And if I made it a step tenon, I could peg it, in which case you wouldn't even need glue. Anyway, I don't need to do that. I'm going to glue them. What's he barking at? He don't even know. The sunshine's come out. Look at that. What have I been doing? Painting, renovating more windows. Windows. What are you barking at? So I'm going to cut all these to length. Sometimes I forget because I take things for granted how simple things are for me, but because I've learnt them over the years, but not necessarily. Something as simple as cutting many lengths of wood all to the same length. So I've cut this to 701 millimetres. And I want to cut 12 the same length. And I've got my dogs set up on my rail there. So, if you didn't know, what you'd be doing is measuring off the edge of the blade. Yeah. Right, trying to set the dog to 700. Well, firstly, I've got a problem there. Because you can see my rail runs out there. My rail runs out at 780 and I want 700. So I could mark a line on this bit of wood. All of that's rubbish. Rubbish, rubbish, rubbish. It don't matter where the first dog is. Put your bit of wood. Put your bit of wood up to your dog. Right, make sure it's tight and you don't want it moving. Then, back that bit of wood off with another bit of wood of the right size. Right, that's the right size. What's the right size? Well, that's what I want to use. Cut it. Throw your off-cut into your burning bin, which goes down the chute, which feeds the boiler. There we go. Now what you do is you take your cut bit of wood out and your block bit of wood up. Let's turn it round. Put that on the dog. That means that distance between that stop and your saw mark is going to be the same. So then when you cut your second bit of wood, and I could cut multiple bits of wood like that, cut your off cut, put that in the burning bin. .701 millimetres. So that means every piece of wood I now put up against this stop is going to cut exactly the same. So that allows me to be able to cut many bits of wood all at the same time. And I need 12 of these. So what I do is I take one of the 12 I need and I check the end for imperfections. And I cut that off, cut all the imperfections out of the end of the timber. And so on like that until I have everything I need. Right, I've set my mortise up. Probably more to it than you might think. Anyway, so I've got a blank piece of frame in here as a stop. And then on the back here you've got a measurement and a marker. And you've got two additional stops. What that allows me to do is set up the sliding table to run between the stops, left and right. That's the length of my mortise. And when that is set to 0 there, when that is set to 0 there, the distance between that and the end stop on my stop frame is the distance between the end of the mortise and the end of the frame. And then you have a lock there and a wheel there, and this wheel sets the table backwards and forwards on this slide, which gives me my distance of the mortise bit there to the back of my fence, and the mortises are going inside here. Right, so that's set. And then I've got my stop front to lock in my frame and my stop down to lock in my frame. Now, this is a bit Toys R Us. So I've done a few, and yeah, it's a little bit of a struggle, but we're getting there. Okay, so what we do is we put this one in there like this. And we push the front stop with our hip. And then push that down. And that locks this stop. That stops my workpiece going backwards and forwards. And then we swing this one round. Right, and this is definitely Toys R Us. And we push that down. And that locks that bit of wood into there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take out a square hole, 28mm long by the width of whatever that is. Mortises in at both ends. Do the tenon in several steps, but this is step one. What I need to make is I need to make a step tenon like this. In order to do that, I have to take the backs off first, and just out of interest, these little bits here, these are what smashed the window, which is why I put polycarbonate in there. So that window has been smashed, I don't know, for 25, 30 years. But I've also put this board in front of it now as well, but that's why the polycarbonate in there is because these fly back, break the window. And yesterday I put the last of the renovated windows in there now, so all of these windows are now done. On the outside, new glass, new putty, and painted all on the inside. Alright, let's do the next step of the tenon. so the idea of this is a tenon that's not going to break through the back. So ultimately, once this goes into here like this, you're not going to see it out the back. So you're not going to see the tenon joint, which is what I don't want to see. So a lot of tenon joints, even door joints, they go through. Cabinet makers don't do that because you can see the tenon going through on the other side. So it's a secret tenon, if you like, or a straight back tenon. And that will, I'm randomly putting that in there, but you can see how it's going to go when it's all pushed down tight. And what you don't see is you don't see the tenon on the end, and more importantly, you don't see it on the stile. So this is the stile, so when the door's open or when the hinge is put on, this is the side you're going to see, and you haven't got a tenon coming through there, which is what I don't want. I don't want to see the end of the tenon, so you make the tenon shorter. Anyway, they've all got to be cleaned up now and then put in their right order, ready for gluing and assembling. Right, so I've stacked them there. They're all ready for further cleaning and final joint preparation before I stick them together. But I've got to stop now because it's stopped raining. Right, it's quite windy. There's a little bit of sun out. So we've got to leave that. Forget all about that. Next job is we've done all these windows through here now. These are all renovated. And I've painted on the outside and I've put the trims on. I'll show you that in a minute. The next job is the next 2 sets of windows have got to come out. And this is why everything seems to move so slowly. I don't know. I have to jump from one job to the next. So what I need are the pieces of ply outside, a battery driver, all the screws for screwing them in, a jemmy bar, and then we'll go outside, undo all the windows and take the next 4 out and get them inside, block the windows up. That way I've got something in here to work on should the weather take another turn for the worse. We've also had another wood delivery. Last night out fishing, the engine started to play up. So I brought the engine in. There it is. Lucky it's only a small one. My friend, right, he rings me up. He says, he's Swedish. He's coming up to his mother's holidays house. He rings me up. He said you should follow me up the river. That means go with him in my boat, and we'll do some trout fishing. And he's got a little rubber rib. He says, I've got 20 horses on mine. So I said, oh, well, you might have to wait a while then, because I've only got 2. Laugh. He just wet himself. Anyway, so there's my little 2-horse Honda. And it gave a couple of misfires, and then it was really hard to start. The other thing I noticed is when I took it off, the case is not locked in. And I don't know why that would be, but it's not, and it should be. This has been uber reliable. You just pull the old cord once and it starts, and it didn't. Now, it has been sat on the boat for 3 weeks, and we've had just the worst rain you could possibly imagine. I know, the rest of the world is going thirsty, and the soil is dry and shriveled up, and everybody just can't get this all. Everybody, it's just an oven. No, this is the Arctic. It's overcast, dull, wet, damp and windy. We had our summer 3 or 4 weeks ago. We had 3 days of nice weather. That's it. So we all saw the top being painted. Now what I've done is these are all the wood shop windows. Completely renovated. And now you can see I've painted down to the scaffold level, but I've actually now removed this end section of scaffolding. So I've got a piece of glass to put in up there, that one. But otherwise, this scaffolding can all come down now. And then that leaves me the bottom to paint. And then we're looking at the top of the cellar walls. And these have always been boarded up like this. Well, all the windows have been removed and sealed up underneath. And I don't want to leave these like this, because this, when the snow builds up, and the snow can build up to here, this lets water in. So, not today, but at some point I want to take those off and see what's inside and see about concreting these in, and then increasing the waterproof layer up to the bottom of this. Anyway, this all needs grading. It's all the wrong way. You can see this is the meltwater here, but sometimes it goes up against the building. Anyway, so that's all them ones done. And and we're on to the final 3 sets of the building on the lower half. This one's done. This is an extraction room behind here, but I've got a piece of glass missing. Why are they gold and black? Oh well, let's just say that was an experiment that didn't go well. So these are the last sets of windows, and I'm removing those 4 and those 4. Right, well, I don't know how long you've been sat on the floor. Could have been 58 minutes for all I know. So you probably missed all of that. Anyway, that's them boarded up, cleaned up, ready for painting now. So, well, the camera fell down, so you didn't see me take them out or sand them, or who knows how long it's been on the floor till I get to editing. Anyway, done. That's those out. So that's just that last set. Obviously, as I've showed many times, all up there is done. And now we're done down to here. So I've got to paint in between, paint the post, and then the rest of the scaffolding can come all the way down. And then I can paint all this up to this corner. And then we're done. Have I done anything on the end elevation yet? No, I haven't. I think we can call it there. Thanks for joining me today. We'll catch you on the next one.